Gen X girl, I got to give a big shout out to. I relied a lot on her excellent research for the next two segments. She's really been on this story, really digging down into it, creating her own exhibits and videos. So here she is. Netanyahu meets with U.S. influencers, most likely on Israel's payroll, to discuss how they can brainwash evangelicals back to supporting Israel. He explains the most important war for Israel is on social media, and their two top targets are TikTok and X. Now, at this time, all the influencers had not yet been identified. Now they have been. So let's take a look.
Something I would like to raise, which was actually my first published paper, was how you and the Likud party are cut from the same ideological cloth as Trump and the GOP in America. And so specifically with Charlie Kirk's assassination, who was a big mentor of mine, who's my first mentor in this space, evangelicals, from all my research, evangelicals are the reason that Israel has been supported in public sphere outside of just Jews. So with Charlie's assassination and with the kind of trajectory that we see with like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, I guess I'm curious about what's another game plan if we lose evangelical support for the state of Israel. What's our backup plan to be strong, like outside the diaspora?
Christian influencers. Okay, you said we talked about the woke right, and you said I call it the woke Reich. That's a brilliant.
He's funny.
He's funny. You gotta hand it to him.
He missed his
they're not
calling.
any different from the woke
Stand-up
left.
comic.
They're insane. They're movies. But they're actually meeting on some of the things. And what we have to do is we have to secure that part of the base of our support in the United States. That is being challenged systematically. A lot of this is done with money. Money of NGOs, vast. Money of governments, vaster. Okay? We have to fight back. How do we fight back? Our influencers. I think you should also talk to them if you have a chance. To that community. They're very important. And secondly, we're going to have to use the tools of battle. You know, the weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords. That doesn't work very well. Okay? And you can't fight with cavalry. That doesn't work very well. And you have these new things, you know, like drones, things like that. I won't get into that. But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is
Followers.
TikTok. TikTok, number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential.
At least
And
you
the
didn't say
other one? What's the other
Rumble.
one?
Makes me feel a little better.
X. Exactly. Very good. And, you know,
It's a
so we have to
cesspool,
talk
yeah.
to Elon. He's not an enemy. He's a friend. We should talk to him. Now, if we can get those two things, we get a lot. And I could go on other things, but that's not the point right now. We have to fight the fight, okay? To give direction to the Jewish people and give direction to our non-Jewish friends or those who could be our Jewish our friends. Are we going to succeed with everyone? No. Will there be a strong counterpart? Yes.
Elon, who actually is in Epstein's schedule going to the island. So I think we could talk to him. And I think we could be very persuasive with Elon. So now the names of everybody who was there has come out. Yair Netanyahu, well, fair enough. That's his son. Emily Austin, we're going to see a little bit more of. Deborah Lee Schwartzman, nice Italian girl. Judean CEO, Shay Zasbo, I don't know who this is. Lizzie Savetsky is fucking nuts. You want to see a lunatic? Yeah, she's like just this side of Michael's. That Zionist girl, Destiny Albreton, Emily Talento, Isaac Woodward, Cam Higbee, Hannah Faulkner, Liv Lane, Dominique Hoffman, Demas E.G., that Latin Zionist, Luke W. Moon. Do you know any of these, Keaton?
No, I don't know.
See, we're in such a different ecosystem.
Yeah.
All right, so there's Emily Austin there with our friend Du Rousseau here. This is from Max Blumenthal. The best conservative influencers Israel can buy? Emily Austin participated in the Epstein binders hoax. You remember that, where they handed out the files that weren't files with the big binder cover? Join Netanyahu's recent influencers meeting. Xavier Du Rousseau attended the secret Hamptons Influencer Summit with Bill Ackman, then junketed off to Israel. Now, you want to see some cringe content? This is the bright side. This is the bright side. I can't imagine that anyone who's not already convinced is not cringing when they see content like this. I can't imagine anyone who's not already a diehard Zionist watches this and doesn't projectile vomit.
Imagine supporting people who start wars just to lose the wars so they can cry about it and then try it all again.
You must see anti-Semites are literally obsessed with Jews. Now walk with me. While you must see anti-Semites are stacking eviction notices, Jews are out here stacking up businesses.
Jews control all the industries. Maybe if you spent more time taking notes from successful people, you wouldn't have to spend your nights and weekends spreading hate from your anonymous account with an anime profile picture.
Do you work as hard as Jews? Do you network like Jews? No, because you're too busy cheering on a group of musty terrorists who smell like dirty earring backs. And if we're gonna keep it real, you're really mad because your income is giving side hustle.
Period.
How you gonna hate from outside, Shabbat? You can't even get in.
I mean,
This is like if Kamala decided to like do a genocide on her own, she would hire these people to do press for her.
I'm sorry, man. Like, I can't imagine that you could do better to drive anti-Semitism if that's what you were paying them to do. If you were asking them, make Judaism look as obnoxious, as condescending, and as off-putting as possible, I can't imagine they would produce a much different video than that. Who on earth would watch that and say, I want to get on board with that ideology?
Yeah.
Now, one of the influencers who was there wasted no time. This from Shipwreck. Damn, they worked fast. TikToker talks about her meeting with Netanyahu from yesterday. It says AIPAC essentially is not the villain. All right. This stuff has to be heard to be believed.
Today, I got the honor of meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu as part of a special focus group for Christian conservative Gen Zers, and we were essentially addressing the concerns that we had, right? There's clearly been a growing divide. He wanted to know why. He wanted to know what Israel could be doing better. He wanted to understand where we were coming from, and to his credit, he did listen to us extremely attentively and took in a lot of what we were saying. And from our end, while of course we were polite and we were there also trying to form more unity, we were asking him the hard questions that a lot of people from our generation have been raising concerns about. For example, and the same way he listened to us and took in our criticism.
Hang on, you asked why all these billionaire Jews are giving all this money to the IDF? Did you ask them that?
I'm truly hoping that you guys will
That's what
listen
they're
to
asking
the
at
answer.
Turning Points anyway.
AIPAC is something that I see all the time. Number one, AIPAC is not an Israeli organization. It has no ties whatsoever to the government of Israel. It's not foreign lobbying. It's a lobbyist group that happens to be lobbying for a certain group of people, right? And this is not unique to Israel. There are multiple countries that do this, and there's multiple different groups that do this. For some reason, people just attach on to AIPAC, despite the fact that AIPAC makes up less than 5% of the lobbying. So if you have a problem with lobbying like me, that's totally fine. I'm against AIPAC because I'm against lobbying. But
Okay. Let's see what Thomas Massey had to say about this.
Everybody but me has an AIPAC person.
What does that mean, an AIPAC person?
It's like your babysitter, your AIPAC babysitter, who is always talking to you for AIPAC. They're probably a constituent in your district, but they are, firmly embedded in AIPAC. And
every member has something like this?
I don't know how it works on the Democrat side. But that's how it works on the Republican side. And when they come to DC, you go have lunch with them, and they've got your cell number, and you have conversations with them. So I've had
That's absolutely crazy.
I've had 4 members of Congress say, I'll talk to my AIPAC person. And it's literally what we call them, my AIPAC guy. I'll talk to my AIPAC guy and see if I can get him to, dial those ads back.
Why have I never heard this before?
It doesn't benefit anybody. Why would they want to tell their constituents that they've basically got a buddy system with somebody who's representing a foreign country? It doesn't benefit the congressman for people to know that, so they're not going to.
All right. So I promise you, if everyone in Congress had a Qatar person or a Djibouti person or a Korea person, you'd hear about it. They'd be talking about it. I promise you they would.
Can't just hone in on one specific group. If you're going to be against it, then be against it for everybody. Moving on from that, we were asking questions about...
I don't think there are a lot of people who are against it for Israel who are for it for any other country.
Right.
I would say most people who are against AIPAC lobbying are against foreign governments influencing our government with money. I think you'd get close to 100% consensus of Americans being against that in general.
Rumors that Israel has been going out and funding people, and no, none of us were paid for that meeting, but I wish. Bibi, if you want to write the $150 million check, go for it. But we asked about funding, and as he explained, Israel is not offering to fund anybody. They're not trying to get involved in American political advocacy groups. That has never happened. And if you're concerned about this, who you should be concerned about is Qatar, because they are doing this. They are going out and funding these universities and these political organizations. Many of these protests / riots that you see destroying our cities, a lot of that has foreign funding from Qatar. And yet people are silent about it, or they're pointing the finger at Israel for something that they're not even doing. The last thing that we really touched on was the...
I mean, I could see why she has a channel. She's pretty funny. Foreign Ministry to fund Israel tour for MAGA, America First, pro-Trump influencers. This is from July. We covered this at the time. The initiative will bring 16 U.S.-based influencers under the age of 30, each with hundreds of thousands to millions of followers, to counter what the ministry sees as a decline in pro-Israel sentiment among younger Americans. They've dedicated enormous amounts of money and resources to this program, and it's just the beginning. The Foreign Ministry has set a goal of bringing 550 influencer delegations to Israel by the end of 2025 to continue this outreach. Of course, everything she's saying is insane. The number of Israeli-backed groups that are active on college campuses and attacking protesters. I mean, it's endless. It's endless. Did the Trump administration come into government and ban protests against Qatar? I must have missed that. I must have missed them leaning on Harvard for not being hard enough on people who are anti-Qatar. So this is really part of an overall strategy, an overall plan. This is from Shadow of Ezra. Israeli politician Yair Golan openly declares that the next step is imposing strict controls on social media, blocking anything authorities label as propaganda. He insists this is a global issue and calls on the United States to lead the way in pushing the same kind of censorship. As we'll see in the B part of this, we're leading the way, all right. Here he is.
The next thing we will do, is to put restriction on the social media in a way that not allowed to make brutal propaganda in the social media. Because this is a worldwide problem, and it should be initiated by the United States of America, the place where all the big firms is settled. Facebook and X and all the rest. This is a major problem for democracy all over the globe, and we need to treat it seriously. We can do it.
Okay, now being in this space, we've had some experience. If you listen closely to that Netanyahu clip, before he says, TikTok is what they have to go after. One of them says, one of the weapons we can use are bots. Now, I can tell you, Keaton did a clip about where Mamdani's response to a reporter that went like very viral, a couple of million views on that. It's a short that we did. And that definitely got attacked by Israeli bots because we would get the same exact type of comment with slightly different wording, basically all to the effect, why don't you ask about religious freedom in Muslim countries? Why don't you ask about diversity of religion? One after the other with the same exact theme. So you already have these things that they're talking about. They're not theoretical. So I bet you've never heard of Cyberwell. It's an Israeli intel-linked org. This is from Chris Menahan, that is now working as a trusted partner with, according to them, all major social media platforms to censor anti-Semitism. Their CEO boasts half the content they flag is taken down, and their reports have been responsible for removing well over 300,000 pieces of content. CEO Tal Or Cohen Montemayor tells Israeli TV she must not have gotten her Star Wars name yet. She got to sign up for those. So here's a little bit of the interview she did bragging about this.
Cyberwell is the first ever open database of online anti-Semitism, a nonprofit initiative based here in Israel that's really looking at the issue of online Jew hatred through the lens of compliance. Actually, we're a service, if you will, for the social media platforms, helping them enforce their social media policies against anti-Semitism at scale. So Cyberwell now is taking, you mentioned over 10,000 examples that we've reported to social media platforms. Actually, the number is much higher at this point, around 11,500. And we believe those flags have been responsible for removing well over 300,000 pieces of content is what we estimate. Cyberwell is fighting back by taking our high integrity data on what online anti-Semitism is and actually using LLMs and generative AI to really take the brain of our human analysts and identify anti-Semitism accurately online. And we believe that this type of work is not only what's going to be able to help social media platforms automatically flag and remove hate speech that violates their policies, including anti-Semitism, but is a crucial thing to do as we look at the rollout of AI, because all of these large language models are trained on online data, including anti-Semitism. So in order to accurately make sure that that data is not being amplified and that bias isn't being created in these large language models or ChatGPT-like applications, you're going to want an expert like Cyberwell to come in and give you high integrity data and an AI application that can ensure that data isn't being amplified. Since Cyberwell started in 2022, we definitely have seen an increase in the rates of removal by the social media platforms. When we started this work, the average rate of removal for reported anti-Semitic content was sitting at about 20 to 25% at best. Now that Cyberwell is working as a trusted partner directly with all major social media platforms, and because of the explosion of online anti-Semitism since October 7th, we do see that that average rate of removal has gone up to about 50%. According to a survey by the American Jewish Committee, only 1 in 3 Jews that experience online anti-Semitism actually take that extra minute to go ahead and report that anti-Semitism. I say if you've already been offended and have already been hurt by the content that you're seeing, take the extra minute and go ahead and report that content. It's absolutely crucial because every report and every decision by a content moderator actually feeds the algorithms of the social media platforms themselves and improves the algorithm. We're constantly working on tools to bring to the public to help us fight back against hate online.
All right, so this is already happening. This is not theoretical, and anyone who spends time online talking about politics, as you probably do if you're watching this show, you know this is happening. You know this is happening. If you tried to have a debate on Facebook about Israel, forget it. Most of your comments are going to disappear. There's a very good chance you're going to get flagged or suspended. It's only going to get worse. We're going to get into the TikTok purchase, the implications of it. It's pretty scary, man. Like, you have both HBO and Paramount releasing October 7th propaganda films on October 7th, both under the aegis of the same owner, Larry Ellison, who is the biggest donor to the IDF. It's going to get ugly out there, man. It's going to get ugly. Like it already is. You ain't seen nothing yet. And the fact that Netanyahu is so confidently and brazenly talking about TikTok as if it's theirs already, because it is, which again we'll get into on the other side. This is what's happening. You're getting these Zionist billionaires who are consolidating control over media and social media. And he's meeting with these influencers who are willing soldiers who really don't care about the ethics of it. And a lot of them, I'm sure, are true believers. That Lizzie Fruitcake, she's definitely a true believer. The money is just a bonus for these people. A lot of them would probably do it anyway. Du Rousseau, he's probably just a whore. But in the end, it's the same effect. Now, the real question is, when you're peddling a narrative that is so contrary to the overwhelming opinion of the public, can that stand? Can that stand? I mean, look, we're not Jimmy Kimmel fans here, but it was pretty instructive that in the end, these companies that pulled them off the air backed down, and that wasn't even like an enormous protest. It wasn't like a crazy protest. They got a protest, they got some boycott threats, and they backed off. So I don't feel this is hopeless, but going back to what we were saying in the last segment, there's a time to set aside our differences, all hands on deck. We need to fight back against what they're trying to do, because make no mistake, they are trying to create a hermetically sealed pro-Zionist media environment where you cannot express dissent.
Yeah, that she says only 1 out of every 3 Jews who experience anti-Semitism online reported, as if that's a low number. It seems like a very, very high number.
Right.
1 out of 3 people who have a problem with something they read on social media report it. That seems really high. It seems really high. As someone who sees offensive shit all day, I never report anything. So think about that. 1 in 3 people who are offended by something actually take the time to call the manager and ask for censorship. Yes, that's a very censorious culture.
Right.
And yeah, it's one that they are obviously looking to enforce.
Please clap.